Okay, so the basic format when you're doing some spinning here of your articles is kind of like this example I have in front of me here. Now, most of you probably know or may not know that you always lead in with some type of comma. In this case, I'm using this shape, but you could also use the square or just the typical bracket to start in. And it's typically this your first sentence with a delimiting factor like this vertical line, your second sentence, and in this case I switched out a word which also follows the same format. I think once you start with one set of characters you continue through with that, and you can do as many examples as you want going through, and you just keep delimiting it with the same character there, and put as many examples in as you want. So the big key here is it's going to take some work. You're not just going to throw up an article and expect the software to do this and have something that you're able to read and understand. So it does take some work, and I think that's the biggest factor you see with private label rights and spinning articles and spinning those articles, is that people just let the software do it, and the software does a marginal job, and you end up with articles that don't read well. So anyway, so here's another example, and in this case I took this sentence here in black and went through and made 4 alternatives for it, and in each alternative sentence I took one word and put in some synonyms or alternative words for that too. So when the software goes through, what it's going to do is it's going to take one of these 4 sentences, and it's going to take one of the however many number of other alternate words, and it's going to just keep recycling those through and creating different combinations each time. So the key is, when you write these, you got to go through and do a lot of rereading and reread it with each alternative one each variable that you put in, to make sure that the flow of the article still works. So that's where the software cannot do it for you. It's not able to read and understand the context and the meaning of the article. It just sees words and letters. So what you got to do is go through it and do it like that. And I've highlighted each sentence here in different colors, and obviously you can see the delimiting factor I have here, not the period but just the vertical line, the pipe symbol I guess it is. And you've got my opening for the variables for the one word, and it's just keep going through, and you can do as many alterations as you can. And in fact, when you have a longer article, you want to go through and be a lot more thorough, because there's more content that needs to be changed, so it's not registering high on the duplicate content when you check that. So the key too is if you're going to do this, it's going to take some work, and either that or you're going to have to hire it out to somebody you trust. But another alternative is taking several similar articles and merging them together by subbing out paragraphs or words and sentences for other ones throughout, and just becomes more of a copy paste than a lot of rewriting. But again, you have to blend each new sentence together, so it takes a lot of rereading, but the payoff is good, because if it takes you a day to do it, you can run it through some software and bang out 75 or 100 articles that are quite different from one another. So you do get a lot of mileage for the work you put in. That's the big attraction to it. But just be prepared to roll up your sleeves and do a lot of writing and rewriting. So off you go.